Tonight's speaker, and I would like to open the bidding process because we successfully, and if everybody tells me that he or she knows who is the speaker, I would like to, that person, Brenda, think twice before you say it. That's good. You do not know, right? So, tonight's speaker is a relatively, and I will try to give you a hint, a relatively recent addition to our faculty. Any ideas? Who said yeah? You are not supposed to say that. But in a very short time, this person has quickly made an impact on our students, our colleagues, and indeed the external awareness of Webster University. You may have heard her work reported on public radio. So it's her. You know, it's like a funnel when you recruit students. It's going down and down and down. And that is a very important activity. Or perhaps you saw her on local TV news last week before the solar eclipse. You might say there is a buzz about that person. Dominic, with so many hints, you know, even Alex, my son of 15 years, will guess who is that, you know. That was supposed to be a little bit more climatic, but let's go further. That is because her research has ranged from Colorado to St. Louis Forest Park, from our Webster students to the students down the street in the 6th grade of the Webster Groves School District. And I must add, her willingness to do media about her academic research serves as a double duty. It spreads societal awareness of important topics in our environment and climate, while also building awareness about Webster University. That means more students walk through our doors to learn from all of us. Of course, you all know I am speaking about Professor Nicole Miller-Struttmann, research her research with bees, and that is the part that has put Webster University in the news and engaged many in the classroom. But I'm also asking you to consider the impact of her energy, and that energy that has impact on our community, the model it sets for our faculty, the inspiration it provides to our students. To quote Nicole herself, I strive to inspire the next generation of science enthusiasts with an appreciation for the relevance of biology to their lives. I approach this goal through education, mentoring, and outreach activities that engage a broad spectrum of learners. So if you have questions about the bee populations, about their behavior, perhaps even their politics, simply ask Nicole, or more importantly, ask her students. Since coming to Webster, Nicole has indeed engaged the next generation of science enthusiasts. I do not have to tell this audience the potential that lays before to grow more and more thanks to the expanded capacity and interdisciplinary opportunities made possible by the addition of the Browning Hall to campus. Faculty members like Nicole can deliver on that potential. It is a pleasure to have her among our faculty as the Laurance L. Browning Jr. Assistant Professor of Biological Sciences, a faculty position endowed by the same forward-thinking donor after whom Browning Hall is named. And it is our honor to have her to speak tonight. Please welcome Nicole Miller-Struttmann, tonight's faculty speaker. I know that we are going to enjoy her speech. I do not know what she's going to say, but I am delighted to see you all here in this room and to listen to one of our newest emerging stars on our faculty roster. Nicole, would you please come?
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. So I'm new. I've only been here a year. So when I first got the email asking that I meet with the president and the provost, I was like, what I do. So I had two options in my mind. One, I could do standard, academic protocol and just sort of fake it till I make it. Or in dire circumstances, I could run to my chair, which I did. I pretty much immediately contacted Mary and was like, so what's going on? What's this meeting about? And so she told me that I might be here. Maybe, if they were to request it. And they did. Thank you very much for inviting me to be here. But because I was new, and I've only seen one of these talks, I wasn't really sure what to talk about. And I brought this up during the meeting with Dr. Strobel and Dr. Schuster, and Dr. Schuster said that, you're new, but you're old. Because I'm actually from Webster Groves, and I have deep roots here in St. Louis, both from the sort of personal side as well as from the professional side. So what I'm going to do today is tell you a little bit about my history, how it parallels, I talk really loud, so that'll happen. About my history, how it loosely parallels some things in Webster's history, and why I'm excited to be part of Webster's future. So we're going to start at the beginning. This is an aerial photograph of Webster Groves. For those of you who aren't used to looking at these things, on the south is Highway 44, paralleled by Big Bend Road, and then you can see the jut off of Lockwood. So Webster's right in the center of your right-hand side of the building, or of the picture. So I grew up, spent the first 18 years of my life in the same house, about a mile from Webster. In fact, this is my coming home picture from the hospital. And while I was experiencing this new adventure called life, around the same time, Webster was experiencing a new adventure as well. They opened the first international campus in Geneva, Switzerland. So over the next few years, we both experienced some growth. I actually went to multiple different schools within Webster as a preschooler. So apparently my parents wanted me to be really, really, really well prepared for elementary school, because I think I went to like 4 different preschools or something like that. My mom actually calls it my postdoc years because of all that training that I had before getting to the big time, before I was ever a postdoc. And then I also went to, so Emmanuel is one of them. So that's this nice hat on top of the Webster University insignia. So I actually went to Emmanuel as part of that schooling. And during this time, as I was growing, so was Webster, particularly with its international campuses. So we'll talk a little bit about that. 3 new campuses were added to Webster's international entourage, for lack of a better phrase at the moment. It's the end of the night, so words are a little slow coming. But, they added in Vienna and Leiden and London, all the time that I was deciding whether or not I wanted to wear my pink tutu or my knee-high rubber boots. And I actually love this image because it actually describes me to some degree. You never know when you're going to need a tutu in a wetland. But also that I have this sort of dual interest of getting my hands really dirty, but also liking to come to these events and dress up and talk to people and be out in the world. So as we continued to grow up, we also had defining moments. For me, one of those defining moments was on a family vacation where we were going crabbing in South Carolina. Now, the whole idea with crabbing is that you get crabs. We caught none, absolutely none. And the reason why, apparently, was because a golf course nearby had earlier in the year used an exceptionally large amount of pesticides on its course. And with that went all of the organisms that are susceptible to that pesticide, including the crabs. So this is sort of my first experience with the impact that we as humans can have on our environment. And so Webster was going through a similar, not similar, but transitions of its own. This is actually around the time that we started restructuring the university and to sort of meet what was typical of the modern time, as it was said on the website anyway. So it was also the time that we got the Gorlock, pivotal moment in Webster's history. And we became a university and had all these other milestones throughout that. Then I actually went to high school at Narings Hall, which is a stone's throw from the new building, literally stone's throw from the new building. And this is when I got really, really excited about science and about biodiversity and about the potential that I could be involved in that. My first international experience was actually to Costa Rica. And as you can tell from the figure legend here, I was pretty excited about it because it was so incredible. It was so different from what I was used to seeing here in North America. And it inspired me in a way that was just like, hey, once I get outside of my own world, there's this amazing contrasting biodiversity that's out there. So I got really excited about that. And this is also the time that in Webster's history, we were expanding in a new way, which is through online programs. And Webster was really ahead of its time when it comes to online programs, as you all know. I was not ahead of my time, but that's okay. I grew into it. So then, after that, I went to college, but that has nothing to do with St. Louis or really much to do with what we're talking about tonight, so I'm going to skip most of that. Except to say that I did do an international experience in Spain, which was pretty monumental and important and changed my own perspectives for myself. But when I got to Washington University, where I did my graduate work, this is when I became the bee lady. This is when I got really excited about pollination, plant-pollinator interactions, and really delved into that research. This is pretty defining for me. It was also the time that I got really excited about teaching. What I didn't mention about my high school experience is I actually taught 5th grade. We had this program with the Missouri Botanical Garden. I would like to say it was a resounding success, but it wasn't. It was when I realized how hard teaching really is, right? Where you have these moments of like, oh man, that did not work. So let's see if we can try better next time. And so when I was in graduate school, I honed that craft, attempted to hone that craft, continued to do that, and I also got really excited about outreach and bringing in students who don't typically have exposure to science and aren't particularly usually asked to be involved in science. And so that's continued through my postdoc work and up to today. And set me up for the position that I have today, because I was keeping an eye on Webster University and keeping an eye on positions, and when I saw the position that was written, it was like they had put my CV right next to the screen as they were writing it. It was written so perfectly for me that, I had to apply. There was no question about it. I wanted to. It was perfect for me. Not only the position, but the school, the focus of the school. So today in the convocation, they talked about the 4 goals or sort of foci of Webster, and each of those is something that I've tried to develop within my own career. So students, learning, diversity and inclusion, and a global awareness. So needless to say, I interviewed for the position. I was awarded the position. And I'm pretty sure my response was something along the lines of like, I was so excited. I was so excited because of the community that I was joining. So when I interviewed, there was such an amazing dynamic within the faculty here in general, but particularly within the department that I was going to be joining, that I knew it was a place that I could thrive and be happy, and because they're dedicated to education. They love what they do. They love working with the students, and their focus is on the students. We do research. It's awesome. It's great because our students are involved in it. So they're also fantastic for lots of academic reasons, but they also like to throw theme parties. Oh, sorry, there's another stupid joke in here. So this is a picture of me actually on my first day here at Webster looking all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but you wouldn't know it was my first day unless I did the obligatory first day finger. Me and all the kindergartners, thank you, partner. So that smirk is for him, not for the job, just so you know. Okay, but going back to the theme parties. So what comes to mind when we have a big celestial event going on in our region? Well, why not invite 1,000 of your closest friends to Webster to experience it together? And that's what they did. Big hand to Ravine for leading the charge on that one. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And, you know, it really was perfectly timed, as we talked about, because, of course, we have this opening of the new building. And I know everybody's probably a little tired about hearing about the building because it's been a long time coming, but also it's taken a lot to get it and to build it into what it is today. So I'm just going to talk really briefly about this because I think the really important thing about the building is a building is a building. It's an awesome building. Don't get me wrong. It's beautiful. The light is incredible. The labs are fantastic. We have lots of new toys that we can use to do science that we couldn't do before. But what the building really does is it allows us to help our students come to their highest potential. Because if you saw the department before, it's amazing how much the faculty were able to get done there. With classes going on at the same time as independent research. Yeah, please give them a hand. They did it forever. And it's amazing that we were as productive as we were, but this allows us the space to allow the students to take themselves to the next level, their science to the next level, and give them skills that they never dreamed of moving on to their next stages. So the building is great, but what it does is it helps us as a community improve. So with this sort of new building and space and all these kind of awesome things, we can continue to do the things that we did before, but maybe ramp it up a little bit. So we can do research in our classes and through senior theses. One of the things that I love about our program is that all of our students in biological sciences do a data-driven thesis. They do science. That is almost like, why even bring that up, right? That's the whole point of any degree, that people get to do and learn the skills that they need for their craft. But we often think of science as a list of facts, which it's not. It's a way of knowing, it's a way of understanding, and a way of learning. And our students learn that. And they're going to continue to do that, but be able to do it in hopefully a way that they can have a little bit more flexibility to do larger projects than they could have done before. I've also had the opportunity to do a fair amount of outreach. So one of the things that I don't know if I mentioned or not when I looked at this job description is that I have designated time for outreach. So as part of my job, I get to develop these relationships with citizen scientists, with teachers, with their students, to get Webster's name out there, but also to involve them in science and to do both of those things together. And that has been absolutely amazing. And now we have the space with this new building to actually bring the community to us. We can go out to the community, but we can also invite them to see all of the amazing things that we're doing. And there's a third and final thing that I'm really excited about for the future of Webster and our department, and that is our expansion into Central and South America. So one of the hallmarks of Webster is this focus on global citizenship, right? But our biology students have a really hard time fitting it in because the courses are rigorous. They're not taught everywhere. And you know, I was able to do it as an undergrad because I was able to go over the summer, and most of our students can't do that. They have to work. So with this new relationship, or these new relationships, multiples, we hope to sort of build in these short-term experiences so that our biology students have the opportunity to be part of that global mission a little bit more than they were in the past. And what better place to start than in the Galapagos? So those of you who aren't biologists, the Galapagos is like the Mecca. We all want to go there at some point in our lives because it's where a lot of these theories solidified or began, right? And to be there is incredible. I mean, we were there for a week and I got to see blue-footed boobies and Darwin's finches and just things that you hear, that I've been hearing about and learning about for decades, and finally got to see with my own eyes. And what I'm most excited about is the fact that in the spring, for spring break, I'm going to be able to give students, hopefully, a similar experience to the one that I had, which was just like, this is amazing. For so many reasons, it's so amazing to be where your roots are, to sort of physically be there where some of these ideas began. So with that, I'll wrap up by saying it has been an absolute pleasure to be here with my first year. Thank you very much for the honor of speaking tonight. And I look forward to working with all of you and learning from each of you as we move forward with the next adventure of Webster University. Thank you.
Well, what a gift. You know, the people at this table who are all previous speakers will tell you that the moment of horror when you get the phone call saying, Beth and Julian would like to meet with you, and you ask, and what is the topic? And you're told, have no idea. And so, to me, I think about the joys in life in this role. One of the true joys in life is when I get to offer somebody a job. And I wasn't part of offering Nicole a job, but for those of you who were, bravo. Excellent work. Right up there with that is offering the opportunity to speak, and it was your gift to us, Nicole. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I remember, because Nicole referenced the fact that the position description talked about outreach, my conversation with Jenny Browning, because there was this gift that she and her husband had made that, you know, was there. All the donations had been made, but it wasn't designated for anything. And it seemed to me that we needed to find a purpose. And I knew that we had already sort of understood that Browning Hall would be the name of the science building. But it seemed to me that, as we saw tonight, that change and growth and agency and maturing and living the mission for a university is about people much more than buildings. And it seemed to me that having a Browning professor was just the right touch. And it was not a hard sell. Jenny embraced it instantly, said, yes, this is exactly what Larry would have liked to have done with this gift. She said, I have one request. I want outreach to be part of the job description. So Nicole, a lot of thought went into what kind of person we wanted to have join us, starting right with Jenny Browning herself. And aren't we grateful that outreach is part of this, because that's true to Webster. And you just gave us such great storytelling tonight. I thank you. And I have a check for you as our gift to you for having spoken tonight. Will all of you please have safe travels home? And we're going to be ready for all those great students in the coming week. Good night.